Welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, America's #1 podcast for new real estate investors, where we know that finding discounted properties is the most proven path to financial freedom. I am your host, Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People, and I am telling you this with full certainty that if I can do this business, so can you. So let's get started. When we start down the path of wanting, it starts with the desire. It starts with the decision to become a real estate entrepreneur, a real estate investor, really changing the landscape of our schedule and our lives and the course of where our families go and the people that are surrounding us. And what it starts with is the belief that you can do this, the faith that you can go out there and make an impact in your community and do that with real estate. And what it first starts with is just finding an opportunity, right? Finding a property owner that has a problem, somebody that has some sort of stress with their property, and having a conversation with them, right? And that conversation comes in many different forms or many different sources. You could get that from them calling you through marketing. You could get that by a referral from a real estate agent or a friend or family, or you can go out there and be proactive and either go and knock on somebody's door or pick up the phone and call these distressed property owners. All right. And then from there, from that opportunity, we turn that into an actual signed agreement. And then from there, we can actually start the different exit strategies that we have in front of us. 3 different options, right? You can buy this property and hold it in your portfolio. You can buy it and flip this property, or you can wholesale this. You can assign this to a cash buyer that's going to pay you a fee to be able to have that opportunity instead of you taking that opportunity. And that's basically what wholesaling is. Well, the 2 guys that I'm going to introduce to the Rhino tribe here, to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, are absolutely incredible. They're out of Atlanta. And the reason I go through this long introduction here is once we start getting these deals and start closing them and start getting income, and when we get to the point where we're closing enough to where it replaces the income that we get from our current profession or our current job, that's when the exciting things happen. And that's what's happened already for one of these partners and is about to happen to the second partner. It is my pleasure to bring from Atlanta, Georgia, to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, Michael Acevedo and Ty the Investor. Welcome, guys, to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. I'm excited to share your story. Say hello to everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having us, Brent. Appreciate it.
So I want to start this off with the exciting news, and I'm going to actually bell ring this early on here, Ty, because you've got some exciting news to share about what's happening tomorrow, right? There's something very significant in your life that is happening tomorrow because of your efforts that we're going to talk about on this podcast. Why don't you explain what's happening tomorrow?
Yeah, so for the past 7 years, I was a logistics freight broker for a trucking company. And just because wholesaling and learning from the TTP family and everything like that, tomorrow will be officially my last day, and I'll be going full-time in real estate, baby.
I love it. I can't tell you how happy that makes me feel. Not only that, but you guys, I didn't even mention, guys, they just closed $92,000 in October. Okay, that's what has set this whole opportunity up, this whole situation up to where Ty can now go full time. Now, Michael, you've been going full time. Former Navy, right? Yep. You got out last March of 2020 during the craziest time in in history, and you get right into real estate. How does that happen?
Yeah. So pretty much, being in the Navy, you learn that you don't really want another boss after that. So I kind of just jumped right into real estate and kind of searched up on BiggerPockets how I can find out buy properties, sooner. And that's when I jumped into Wholesaling Inc. and started listening to their podcast like it was a ritual every single day, listening to at least 2 of your videos, Brent, every single day. And that was just teaching me so much. And from there, in March when I left, I just kind of said, I'm going to DoorDash and I'm going to jump right into wholesaling real estate. And that's essentially what I did. And, it got us to where we are at now. And I joined what I call, like I said, a mentorship hack. I joined a wholesaling group that was already successful. And that really jump-started a lot of stuff for me because essentially I skipped a lot of the bad parts that you can, come across in wholesaling as far as mistakes that you make. So I was able to see the mistakes that they were making or see, correct good things that they were doing and kind of implement that into our company. So that really helped us.
Well, and I think that's a great point that you're making there is you decided, you know what, I'm going to just, instead of trying to just figure this thing out and read and go to the bigger pockets and go to the podcast and the YouTube channels, I got to see what this action's about. I got to get back into the kitchen. You know what I mean? Like I see the sandwich, but I got to go see how they made this type of thing. So you went back and you got into a successful wholesaling business as an acquisition manager, right?
Yes.
Phenomenal. And the beautiful thing there is you start learning when we start out in this, the toughest parts, the thing that really holds us back is when I'm talking to this property owner, how do I know if this is a deal or not? Is it a deal or no deal? Right. And you're getting firsthand experience. You get people that have done a lot of deals, have wholesaled a lot of property, and they're saying, you know what, Michael, this is what you want to look for. These are the price points that work. This is how much we can make on these things. And you're just a sponge. You're just taking it all in, right?
Exactly. That's really what happened. And I kind of just soaked in all that information. I was only there for about 2 months. I soaked into all that information. And, from there, that's when I met Ty. And pretty much he had a whole database that his VA was pushing over leads into that database. And the deal that we made before we, wanted to become partners was, hey, let's make money together first. Let's do a deal together before we go ahead and, secure that partnership. Let's see how we work together. And essentially, I went into his database from the knowledge that I knew from the other company, and we closed our first deal, JV'd in July. It was an $8,000 deal, but it was all virtual. We did not see the property, did not meet the owner, or none of that, and it was great.
Wait, so you were in Atlanta. Where was this deal at?
It was in Georgia as well, but Macon. So it was about 2 hours from Atlanta.
Got it. And Ty, the reason he found you is because you were being loud on social media. You were telling people what you were doing, right? Oh, Ty's popping back in, and we'll reconnect him right now. So Ty, just to pick up, you were being loud on social media. That's how you and Michael really connected. He found you and was kind of, checking out what you're doing and what you're, the way that you're communicating on social media. And he's like, you know what, this seems like somebody that's similar to me. I like the energy that he's putting out. And then you guys connected, split the first deal, made 8,000 together. And then you guys were like, okay, let's blow this thing up. Is that right? He's frozen again. It's, oh man, Ty. Well, we'll figure out Ty here. So Michael, what about seeing? What did you see on social media from Ty that like drew you to him as somebody that you wanted to connect with and at least squat up with?
So what I really liked about him was he was very transparent. He had deals that he had signed before, gotten under contract, but he wasn't the, type of person to just say, hey, this deal closed. He would actually let the audience know, like, hey, canceled deal, terminated. And that transparency really grew onto me. And that's when I reached out to him. And I was actually still in Virginia at the time, stationed there in the Navy. So I reached out to him. I was like, hey, man, I really like what you're doing. I think you're in the same level, the same, kind of level that I'm in right now, looking for my first deal. And he was essentially, and that's what really clicked us. And from there, from July on, we just were always talking. And when I finally moved to Atlanta, that's when we went ahead and connected. And I was still working for the other wholesaling company, but at the same time, we would talk to each other on the phone every day. I'm over here just kind of letting all the information go of what I'm learning every day to him. And from there we grew together, and we seen that, our minds think alike, and that we work best together. And that's really what started the partnership. And it wasn't even the first deal that essentially made it. We didn't start the partnership till after like 3 deals. So after that, it was another, $17,000 deal, and then another deal after that. And that's when we made it official and was like, yeah, it's we got to make it a partnership. We work great together, and we're making money together and helping, the most important, helping sellers.
Yep, that's it. Ty, he's back.
Sorry.
There we go. So Ty, what is it? Listen, we get into wholesaling so that we can learn how to find discounted properties, and then we get in so that we can then turn that into opportunities for our cash buyers. We get income, and then we use that income to buy assets so that we can get passive cash flow. Mm-hmm. What is it? How did you find real estate? Like, why real estate? Like, why not something else? Why not anything else? I mean, real estate is a small niche. I mean, yes, there's 19 million real estate investors in the country, but most of those are just people that own a second house or a rental or something like that. Why devote your time, the bulk of your time and energy, to real estate?
Well, when you think about real estate, it's one of those things that's you can't create more of it. There's only a certain amount of land in the world to have, right? And then when you start studying people who are wealthy, people who have, millions and millions of dollars, people who have assets and things like that, most of their assets are in real estate. So, when you start studying that kind of thing, that kind of brought me to it. Like, okay, real estate is the way to wealth. It's a key to wealth. It's a road that we can take to get there. And then when you start digging deeper a little bit more, trying to figure out ways to get into it without having to spend a lot of your own money up front, then it just starts making more sense and it starts clicking. So from there, it was like, okay, this is it. This is my road. This is my path. I'm jumping on this, and this is how we're going to figure it out,
I love it. And it's the absolute truth. I mean, this is how we build wealth. Not only that, but it's true. It's one of those things that there's a limited supply, and we're in a beautiful time right now where the inventory is low and the demand is high. So when we find these discounted properties, I mean, we were talking off screen, you guys are averaging $18,000 a deal. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal that you guys jumped in now. And plus, we've got another 10 years of this projected. So I see incredible things going for you guys. So talk to me about your guys' dynamic. How do you guys work together? And how do you guys not like step on each other's toes or overlap each other too much? How do you guys build an efficient machine as partners?
Yeah, so for us, it's the communication. Our communication is 100% transparent. Anything that we're doing, any moves that we're making, any decision that needs to be made is discussed prior to. That's comes down with making offers to sellers. That's even evaluating properties, doing deal analysis, things like that. Every move that we make we communicate it and it's full transparent. So I think that is like the main thing, and we're 100% honest with each other. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how we work together. That's kind of how it makes sense and it kind of works out. We just put trust in one another to ensure that we're going to get the job done. And that's at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. I trust him to close a deal and lock a property up, put it under contract, and vice versa. He trusts me to do the same thing. And then when it comes to numbers, we kind of collaborate on a number that makes sense. And then boom, we'll go from there. And it's been working for us.
I love it. Michael, how are you guys generating opportunities? How are you finding your leads?
So currently right now we're finding our leads through the best, the best marketing, which is TTP, talking to people. So we definitely we're cold calling out there, and we're, once it comes in from our cold calling into our CRM system, that's when we go ahead and, what you would say acquisitions. We go ahead and do the acquisitions part of that. And essentially, it's just calling people every single day, talking to people, starting conversations, getting to know what it is they need help with. Yep. And then from there, it's moved on to dispositions, and then obviously, transaction coordination. And I think, what has really helped us, move along easily and work together well is like what Ty said, and also ego. We don't have big egos, so a lot of the time there's something Ty would say, and I would have an opposite thought, but I would go with Ty's thought instead and be like, I like that better, rather than saying, hey, my thought was better, my plan is better, that putting that ego to the side and actually understanding what your partner's saying and taking that into consideration to move forward is a big part too. You don't want to have a big ego in partnerships.
Well, especially when your partner here has had 7 years of freight brokering. I mean, listen, if you guys need it, if you want to see high paced, a lot of communication, nonstop action, it is in freight. I am telling you, it's bananas. It's crazy. I bet going into wholesale, you're like, this is nothing. This is like, this is a breeze. I could do this all day long. So, Michael, smart move. If it were me, I'd be listening to him too, for sure. So, I want to break this down just a little bit because I'm sure people are having questions. You mentioned that you have VAs making your calls. Where do you get your VAs?
So we currently get our VAs from the Philippines. Ty's he's the operations for the virtual assistants. I know he uses a Facebook group, and that's where we actually put a post up, and they started applying. But one thing that we do, a trick that we do, is we like to put something in that post saying, hey, send an email, also send a video, and then also send a paragraph explaining yourself or your favorite color, just to make sure how much they pay attention to detail.
Right.
And that's the first elimination right there if they don't do that. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're getting them from. It's called a Facebook group called Real Estate Virtual Assistants, REVA. You search it there and you just put a post up on there, and you'll have millions of virtual assistants, applying.
I literally just talked to the owner of Reva. Something big's coming coming down the line for Wholesaling Inc. It's going to be great. But so Ty, you get a lot of different people wanting this job.
Yes. What
are you paying, and how do you select the right caller?
Yeah, so when it comes to pay, we put out there, we're full transparent. So on our Facebook post, we put a range of what our budget is and what we're looking to pay. And typically that's anywhere between $4 to $7 per hour. And once we put those applicants in, we have an interview process. But before that interview process, it's the elimination process, like Michael mentioned, about,
well, we lost him again.
Yeah.
We'll pop him back on. Go ahead, Michael.
So we pretty much have that elimination process, like he was touching up on. That way, that's the first eliminations is seeing if they're paying attention to detail, and if they're not paying attention to detail, next elimination process is seeing their accent. We don't want a heavy accent, obviously. So we're seeing how much of a good American accent they can have. And then from there, that's when we go ahead and choose more eliminations. And then obviously we get them on an interview, and on the interview, we go through a series of questions, and then we also do a role play. And believe it or not, the role play really helps a lot at the end. It really lets you realize where they're at in as far as skill sets. So that really helped us a lot with the role play. But if I were to say one thing, because a lot of people ask me where we get the virtual assistants, if I were to say one thing, is training.
Yeah.
Training, because the virtual assistants are not going to come completely trained. They're going to make mistakes just like we did when we first started, and training's very important. We do one every week. So that's what really set us apart and has our virtual assistants doing a lot more work than other teams that have 20 or even 30 virtual assistants.
Yeah. Well, and that's the important thing. I always, people that just are like set it and forget it with their virtual assistants and aren't continuously talking to them and working with them and showing them what's going on with all of their efforts, and that it's going somewhere and it means something and they're impacting the community and helping people's lives. You need to tell them they're part of your team. You know what I mean? It's absolutely part of your team. You can't just, because they're half a world away, you can't just ignore them and hope that they send in leads. You got to be talking to them all the time. They got to be on whatever whether you're using like a Slack channel or you're using Skype or whatever it is, you're using WhatsApp to communicate. Whatever it is, make sure that you're over communicating with your virtual assistants that are making your calls, because you will make them better and they'll feel more secure. The more secure that they feel that they don't have to get a new job tomorrow, the more they're going to work for you. So that's awesome. And then the other thing is, you mentioned a CRM. Once your VAs make the calls, get the leads, what CRM are you using to put them into?
So we recently just upgraded our CRM to Investor Fuse. I have 3. We were using Podio before, and I actually, I'm a very tech savvy guy, so I kind of did a couple things with the Globy Flow on Podio as far as the automations went. But we went ahead and did a demo with Investor Fuse, but the CRM really changed the game as far as, drip campaigns where if we're not able to get in contact with the seller, we put them in a drip campaign, and now it's automated as far as getting back, reaching them. So CRMs are definitely important.
Yeah, I used Investor Fuse for years and years and years and years. And I'll say this: how many leads do you guys think that you're following up with that are active in your CRM? Just ballpark.
On a monthly basis, you're saying?
No, just total.
Just total that we're following up with?
Yeah.
Right now in our database, we probably have like around, I think it's 300 leads in our database right now.
That's exact. Listen, if you don't have 100 leads that you are following up with, you do not need a CRM. You are going to get buried in it. It's going to be a huge distraction. Wait until you get 100 leads, then get a CRM, because I don't want any kind of excuses that you're not doing it because you're setting up your CRM. Don't do it. Just get some deals coming in and then get a CRM. You don't have to start off the bat with a CRM. You just have to make sure that you're following up with leads. Little side note there, but it's perfect. I mean, with 300 leads, you need something that's going to organize it. You can't just have slips of paper everywhere. You have to have tasks set up so that you are hitting those tasks, so that you're getting a hold of all those people. And for anybody that's never heard of these acronyms, I apologize. VA stands for Virtual Assistant. CRM stands for Contact Relation Manager, right? So Relationship Manager. So those are some of the acronyms, but basically it's a database, and basically it's cold callers. So, or phone prospectors, as we like to call it. Awesome. So let's break down a deal, guys. Let's get into the nitty gritty here. I think that is Ty frozen again, maybe.
I think so. It looks
all
like.
right. So Michael, let's break down a deal. One of the ones, what's the biggest deal that you closed in that 92K month that you just closed in October?
Yeah, so actually it was one of the biggest deals we closed. It was in October. It was actually $40,000 gross. It was a double close.
Don't give us this. Don't give us the candy yet. Tease us along a little bit. Let's break this thing down a little bit. So, what list did you use? How did you find it? And how long did it take? Let's break down all these things.
Okay. So pretty much we kind of reverse engineered, you could say. We kind of went with what our buyers were kind of looking for as far as criteria, where they're what properties they're looking for and where they're looking. So that's where we went ahead with that, and our list is very broad, I would say. So it's not very like specific, like code violation or it's not very specific. It was very broad. It was just as long as it was built 1950s and over, and let's say it was I think 1,000 square feet and up. And then also less than 2 acres. So as you can see, it was very broad. It wasn't like a specific code violation or a probate list that we actually went after.
Awesome. So built 1950 or before, and what size square footage? 2,000 and below.
It was we had it at 1,000 and above.
1,000 above. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And so you called them up, your prospector called them up, got the lead, right?
Yep.
What was the condition of this property?
So the condition of the property, essentially, we deal with a lot of different conditions. The one that with the largest deal, it was actually, you could say, almost retail condition. It really needed cosmetics. So it wasn't much that needed to be done to the property besides maybe some paint, some flooring.
In Atlanta?
Yeah. So it was actually So it
Those
was
are nice deals there. I mean, listen, the market going as bananas as it is in Atlanta, and the lack of inventory. I mean, they probably could have easily put it on the MLS, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So why didn't they?
I would say one reason why they didn't was it was tenant occupied.
Okay.
And selling a property on the MLS tenant occupied obviously is difficult. All investors are going to be looking at that, and and most likely they're gonna offer you less than what it's listed on the MLS for. And what really set us apart on this deal also was this deal actually came from a referral. It came from a referral of a lead that we closed on before. So he actually referred her over to us, and that's how we were able to go ahead and assist her in selling her home.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it was definitely awesome.
Well, and that's what happens when you build good relationships with the people that you're doing business with. And if you're communicating with them and staying in front of them and holding their hand all the way through the finish line, all of a sudden you're their trusted advisor when it comes to real estate. When it comes to, I just need to get rid of a house real quick. No, he's not a realtor. This is the buyer. This is the person that's going to take care of everything. All of a sudden you're going to start getting referrals all over the place. Too many people think that it's transactional. It's very relationship based. You know what I mean? It's you want to get some free opportunities. The marketing cost in this deal is nothing.
Nothing.
Right?
Nothing at all. And that's a big important thing, like you're saying. And we've added that, client retention. And Ty can kind of touch up on that because he's the one who really kind of deep dived into that. I'm not sure if he's frozen.
Yeah, no, he's good.
Yeah. So client retention is something that I thought about basically off of that deal. Most of a lot of people, they know people who may be looking to sell properties. Even though you closed on the property 2 months ago, that doesn't necessarily mean that relationship is done there, right? So we put something in our system where we follow up with these closed deals over a year period of time, where we're sending them automatic text messages, say, hey, we're still looking to buy. Do you have any other properties, or do you know anyone that's looking to sell, right? So, and you can get deals off of that, because that's kind of how that deal came across. So we kind of love it our system so we can get more deals.
I love it. So what'd you lock it up for? What'd you sell it for?
What was that one locked up at? 225. We sold it for 265.
Yep. So we locked it up for $225,000, and we ended up selling it for a whopping $265,000. I always wanted to hear that bell ring, Brent.
That is incredible. I am telling you that $40,000. Let me just to put this in perspective. I think that this is really important here. Let me give you some stats here. To be in the top 10% income earners in the world, you have to make $201,000 a year. 10%. Top 5% is $273,000. Top 1% is $504,000. Right? You did one deal. You had a conversation from a referral that you're going to keep all of those profits and made $40,000. That is absolutely incredible. I mean, what did that feel like when you guys saw that wire hit your account and you're like, did you get a wire or cashier's check?
Wire. And that hits the account and you see it in there. How's that feel? Let's get another one.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's get another one. That's it. I'm telling you, that expands your mind. And then you're like, okay, let's get another one. Let's start getting bigger deals. Let's really, make something special happen here. And I love it. Congratulations, guys. What an incredible deal. I mean, especially coming from a referral, and a lot of people sleep on getting referrals. A lot of people think you either get it from marketing or you get it from, being proactive and cold calling. But if you keep in touch with the people like Ty's talking about here, you keep in touch with the people that you've already served, you're going to get those opportunities, and you should get them at least once every 90 days, if not more, depending, as you do more business, you get more referrals. I mean, we do an incredible amount of business from referrals. So that's amazing. So guys, if people want to meet you, if they want to be around you in Atlanta, they want to squat up, or they just want to tell you congratulations, is the Instagram handles here that that is the best way to reach out. Just DM you guys.
That's correct. Yep.
Instagram, I would say best way, @_Michael.Acevedo. I know nobody's going to know how to spell that last name. But at Ty the Investor, you definitely reach us there.
Yeah, guys, reach out. I mean, be around these guys. These guys are the momentum is behind them. The wind is at their backs. They are flying. So make sure. And by the way, guys, you guys are at that 11 deals over 200K, and building. So I love it. What's the big vision? What's the big goal? I love getting, at the end of these conversations and interviews, I love hearing about what's the big vision? What's the big goal? Is it owning a lot of real estate? Is it being a developer? Is it opening up a bank? Like, what do you guys see as your big, as the big goal?
Cash flow, Brent. We want to buy apartment units. That's our goal. Our goal next year is 2 apartment complexes. So
I love it.
Looking at about 100 units. However, we got to get it done. We already have a little plan in place to get that. But the goal is to utilize our capital that we gain from wholesaling and to invest that into acquiring those assets that you brought up earlier, such as apartment units, so we can get that residual monthly passive income. So we, hey, that's how you create that wealth right there. Buy your time back.
I love it. That's 100 units next year.
That's the goal.
Let's go.
That's the goal.
Let's go. I love it. And guys, I have all the confidence that you guys will do it. Well, thank you guys for being on here. Any final words? Talk to everybody that's just getting started out, and give them some advice on what they should do to get their first deals.
Yeah, so I'll get started real quick. So first things first is listen to Wholesaling Inc. podcast. Learn the TTP script. Join the Rhino gang if you need to, because that everybody's gonna help out. Yep. Don't quit. It's gonna be some tough times. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna get a lot of no's, but just know that there's a deal out there with your name on it. You just got to stay focused, stay committed, and be intentional about every move that you make and get this thing done. Because I was able to quit my job or resign from my job, so and you can too. So just stay locked in, stay committed, and you'll be able to get it done. I
love it. Ty, explain your logo. I think it looks great.
Oh, yeah. The name of the company is called Property Jet Real Estate Solutions. It's pretty much a hat with a jet in it. And the reason behind that is we sell properties, we buy and sell properties just like as fast as a jet. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how we operate.
I love it. Michael, words of advice.
Yeah, so I would say, keep being persistent and be aggressive in the follow-ups, because that's one thing that when I first started, I was unprofitable for a good 6, 7, 8 months, just deep diving into wholesaling. I even had a contract signed. But one thing I didn't do was be aggressive with follow-up. Just be very aggressive with follow-up. Call them once a day, 2 times a day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day. It doesn't necessarily matter. And if they're not answering because they're just not ready yet. Yep. But they'll answer when they are ready. I've called, plenty of people 20 times in one day, and next week he ends up answering and it's a deal. So definitely aggressive with the follow-ups, because that's something that I feel like when I was first starting, I didn't fully understand. I understood follow-up, but I didn't understand being aggressive and actually calling 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day that same person. Yeah. So definitely be persistent and just be aggressive with follow-up.
I love it. And thank you for the service to this country. Much appreciated. And you guys are incredible. I'm so happy to have shared your story and to share this podcast with you guys. For everybody else, a couple little resources for you when it comes to the script. If you're looking for the script on what to say when you are reaching out to property owners, go to ttpinsider.com. TTP, like talk to people, ttpinsider.com. It's got an incredible amount of tools and resources for you there. And if you're interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate investing, it is the TTP coaching program. It is the TTP family. Go to wholesalinginc.com/TTP. That's wholesalinginc.com/TTP. And that's it for us. I sign off, as always, encouraging you to talk to people. Till next time. Love you guys. See ya.